Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome back to another Division 2 video. My name is Prime and I have the ultimate DPS build for the new Incursion Paradise Lost. This is one of the must-have builds and a lot of people are using this. This is my build setup and the rest of my team ran around with this as well. And of course, I have some tips and tricks for you with the ultimate beginner guide for the new Incursion Paradise Lost. If you didn't check it out yet, I will leave it on the screen right now. Definitely check it out. And of course, as you see in the background, this can shred through everything. We only ran 3 of these builds and 1 healer or 1 tank. This will help you out. This is the build that people will ask about. If you want to join, if you want to get carried and get that clear, the people will ask of this build, or if they see this build, they are more than happy. This is one of the hardest hitting builds if you of course don't go for glass cannon, but going around with glass cannon in this incursion, ooh, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. But man, this is so much fun. This gives you survivability. This gives you the damage output that is needed to help out your teammates and of course defeat all the bosses and get that Ouroboros unlocked. Let me know in the comments down below if you played it already, are you planning to play it, and did you defeat it already? And of course, the most important question, do you have the Ouroboros? I would love to know, but without further ado, let's dive right into the build. Enough gameplay, let's go. And there we are. This is the DPS build that we used. This is my build and most of my teammates were running around with this as well. And the dev said it wasn't really a DPS check, but it kinda is because most of us ran this build all the way through. Only one of us was running a tank or one of us was running a healer. So this is the build you want to go for. This is the build that you want to build. And why are we using this? Because we have a little bit of survivability throughout our specialization. The gunner gives us that 10% armor on kill. The third reload faster is quite nice as well, but that's mainly why we use it. Then jumping over to my guns, or better set gun, and that's the Saint Elmo. Why are we going for the Saint Elmo? Because this gives us a little bit more RPM. 101.6k damage. This is not proficient. If you have a proficient, always go for some extra expertise on your gun, especially for your builds for the incursions, because you need that DPS. Your build needs to be min-maxed to do as much damage as possible. Believe me, it helps out a lot. I went for damage to target out of cover on this. And why the Elmo? Why not another gun? Because, of course, the talent shocks people when you have that stack of 100. And this gives you another extra survivability. You know, tapping a few enemies around that they are shocked and you can just take them out without getting hurt. That is a great addition to this build. Second gun was the classic M1A. I kind of use it to shoot from a distance, but overall I only use my Elmos. Maybe I switch around to my M1A sometimes when I ran out of ammo or I had to take out something from a distance. Again, damage your target out of cover on there. This has expertise on there. 20, so extra 20% weapon damage. That's why this gun hits for 513.6k. Then if we go down, I chose to go for Ranger because if I use the classic M1A, they will be on range. And Ranger amplifies the weapon damage by 2% for every 5 meters you are away from your target. I chose to go for the critical hit chance mods twice and 5 extra rounds. For your pistol, you can go for whatever you like. I chose to go for the DDI card, but go for something that you do not have proficient yet. It's not really useful to go for a pistol on this build. Then let's jump over, and of course we're running that striker build. Why striker? Gives us an extra weapon handling, extra fire rate, but we're doing it for that 4-piece, the striker's gamble. Weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times. But because we're running around with that backpack, that 0.65% changes into 1%, so instead of that extra 65% weapon damage, we're gaining an extra 100% weapon damage. 1 stack is lost per second between 0 and 50 stacks, and 2 stacks are lost per second between 50 and 100 stacks. I chose to go for critical hit chance and critical hit damage on everything. Like you see, with an extra critical hit damage mod on there. Gloves, I went for the critical hit damage as well. Knee pads, critical hit chance. Holster, critical hit damage, and then I chose to go for my chest piece of Seska. You always want to push your build towards that 55 to 60% critical hit chance before you dive into critical hit damage, and this is just straight up min-maxed. You will not get higher critical hit chance and you will not get higher critical hit damage if, of course, you don't get the boosts from the mask that I'm running around with. Again, Seska, of course, for that 10% extra critical hit chance, critical hit damage as the attributes, critical hit damage mod on there, and then obliterate. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 5 seconds, stacks up 25 times, and this is great. We're shooting a lot, so the stacks were almost always on point. And then for the last piece, that's gonna be the Coyote's mask. And why? Again, critical hit chance, critical hit damage mod, but we're doing it for the Pact Instinct, and this will give our team 25% critical hit damage, or 10% critical hit damage and 10% critical hit chance, or 25% critical hit chance wherever you hit people from. The beautiful thing is this can all be activated if 3 people run around with that mask. So you can get all the buffs. You can get a total of 35% critical hit chance and 35% critical hit damage if everybody hits them from 0 to 15, 15 to 25, and 25 meters and above. So you can definitely boost up your build. So if you're not running around with this mask, or if your teammates are not running around with this mask, the Seska is definitely one to go for. If you can min-max it with your team itself, and somebody or multiple people are running around with the Coyote's mask, you can even switch the Seska to Gruppo to get a little bit more critical hit damage out, because you will always be at that cap of 25% crit chance because your teammates are helping out with that same mask. That's pretty much the overview of the build. I chose to go for Revive Hive. Went for 10% revive armor repair, 5% range, and 10% health on there. And then next to that, and this is such a great skill to use, I'm always switching a little bit between the foam launcher with 9.8% share duration and 1 extra ammo, or your shield. It depends what you like to do, but there are some boss fights that the cam launcher comes in clutch. You can trap them and easily beam them down. But if you feel like you're too squishy, you can go for a shield as well. Talking about feeling too squishy, you can also get the mods away and go, for example, for protection from elites. You can boost that up to a maximum of 39% if you have 13% mods. Most of y'all probably have the 12%, so you can gain an extra 36% protection from elites, what will help out if you feel too squishy. Most of the time, if we're running around with a tank build, they will give us some extra bonus armor, or if we're running around with a healer build, they will heal us, so you can better go for a straight DPS build, because there are a few DPS checks within this incursion. So let's jump over to the stats real quick, and it's all about the critical hit chances and critical hit damages. As you can see, 58% critical hit chance, we are 2% away from the cap, and 161 critical hit damage. But that's pretty much it. This is the build that we ran around with. This is my build and most of my teammates' builds as well. Definitely build this. We will be asking for this build. If you want to join us in an incursion, just hit me up with the follow on YouTube, and of course on Twitch/IamPurePrime, because we are doing live carries. If you need something, hit us up and we can see if we can help you out. Of course, like I said in the intro, I showed you the whole beginner's guide to defeat this Incursion Paradise Lost. Check it out if you didn't check it out yet. And this is a must-have build, and I will upload, of course, all the builds that our team is using. Thank you very much for sticking until the end. You are a freaking legend if you're still here. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, like the video, and of course, if you learned something or you're new here and you want to just be updated about the Division universe, Division 2, and the future Division 3, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. PurePrime out.